Welcome to the Explainer. So, you're building an AI product. You're probably facing this huge challenge, right? How do you get smart, reliable behavior to pop out of what is essentially just simple code? Well, it turns out one of the great pioneers of AI, a guy named Marvin Minsky, gave us an incredible blueprint for this, and today we are going to walk right through it. Minsky starts with this massive puzzle. I mean, think about it. Our brains are just made of neurons, right? Little cells that aren't individually smart. They don't have feelings or consciousness, so how in the world does intelligence emerge from a whole bunch of non-intelligent parts? This is the core problem he dedicated his life to solving. And this isn't just some abstract philosophical question, not at all. It is the exact same challenge we face when we build AI. How do we get complex, common-sense behavior to come out of simple lines of code? And as you'll see, Minsky's answer is just a brilliant mental model for anyone building things today. What's so wild is that once you start looking for this question, you see it everywhere. It's not just about brains or software. I mean, how does a flock of birds create those stunning, synchronized patterns without a leader calling out moves? How does an ant colony build an incredibly complex nest? It's all about this idea of emergent complexity, where the whole becomes so much more than the sum of its very simple parts. So, Minsky's solution is both super elegant and incredibly powerful. He said the very first step is to completely throw out our most basic assumption, the idea that the mind is one single, unified thing. And that's it. That is the core idea right there. Don't think of your mind as some CEO sitting in a corner office making all the decisions. Instead, think of it like a bustling city, just full of millions of citizens, each one busy doing their own little thing. It's a society. And the citizens of this mental city? Minsky called them agents. Now, an agent is a tiny, almost stupidly simple process. It's completely specialized. It only knows how to do one simple job, and frankly, it doesn't know or care about anything else. These are the mindless stuff from that opening quote. Okay, I know this sounds a bit abstract, but it's literally happening in your head right this second. Minsky used this fantastic example. Just think about the simple act of picking up a cup of tea. It feels like one smooth, easy action, doesn't it? Well, it's not. So just look at this breakdown. There's no single T-boss agent in charge. You've got grasping agents that just want to grasp. You've got balancing agents whose only goal in life is to avoid spills. They don't know about each other's goals. They don't care. Intelligence is the result of all their simple, sometimes competing, sometimes cooperating actions. It's not the cause of them. And this just perfectly illustrates the point, doesn't it? Intelligence, that smooth, effortless act of drinking tea, it isn't some top-down command. It emerges bottom-up from the cooperation of countless simple, specialized little agents. Okay, so if the mind is just a chaotic society of mindless agents, how does it stay organized? How does it avoid descending into just total chaos? Well, it turns out the society has a few key operating principles that keep things running. Minsky laid out some key rules for how this society governs itself. First, agents form hierarchies, kind of like a company org chart, to manage complex tasks. Higher-level agents can negotiate to resolve conflicts, like two teams fighting over the same resource. And this is critical. The society grows not just by adding more agents, but by getting better at managing them. Let's dig into that hierarchy idea. Imagine a builder agent in a child's mind. It's like a manager. It doesn't do any of the actual physical work of building a tower of blocks. No, instead, it just activates other, lower-level agents, like add, which in turn calls on find and put. It's a management chain that breaks a really complex problem down into simpler and simpler tasks. And this all leads to a really profound idea about learning, named after Minsky's collaborator, Seymour Papert. Real growth, real learning, isn't about adding more worker agents to your brain. It's about getting better at managing the agents you already have. It's all about building better systems of organization. So what does this all mean for you? How does this translate into a practical framework for building AI products? This is where the theory really becomes an architectural blueprint. Okay, for anyone in tech, this is where the light bulb really goes on. The single-cell view on the left, that's basically a monolith architecture. It's one giant, complex system that's brittle and an absolute nightmare to debug. But the multiple-cell view on the right, that's a microservices architecture. You're building simple, independent agents or services that are robust, reusable, and you can compose them to create incredibly complex, intelligent behavior. So here's your takeaway, your playbook.
Break your problem down into the smallest possible jobs you can think of. Assign each one of those jobs to a simple agent. Then, organize those agents into hierarchies. And most importantly, focus on building the administrative layers, the managers, that allow the whole system to learn and adapt over time. Now, applying this framework is incredibly powerful, but embracing the society of mind idea has a much, much deeper implication. It really forces us to question the very idea of a single, unified self.
Minsky argues there is no ghost in the machine. There's no tiny, precious you sitting at a control panel inside your skull. The self isn't some core that you're born with. It's a crust that you build over a lifetime. The self is really a practical necessity. It's a collection of high-level agencies that we develop over time to keep ourselves from, say, changing our minds too quickly, or to make long-range plans, and to present a coherent, consistent face to the world. It's a constructed management layer, not some essential core being.
And that leaves us with a huge, powerful question for anyone building the future of AI. What if this race to build a single godlike superintelligence is completely misguided? What if the real path forward is to become master architects of vast, cooperative, and truly well-organized societies of mind?